you, everyone. And welcome to the Waste and Recycling Middle East and Africa Virtual Forum. It is surely a challenging period for all communities and businesses worldwide. In a matter of months, the coronavirus pandemic has affected all countries and has brought life to almost a standstill. In the current scenario, Waste and Recycling Middle East MEA brings to you an exclusive webinar series over the next 2 months, featuring a range of waste management and recycling experts and a series of in-depth discussions covering wide-ranging topics. The first theme, as part of the virtual forum, is enhanced cleaning and disinfection to prevent COVID-19, regional perspectives. So today's webinar will examine the latest initiatives and enhanced outdoor cleaning and disinfection techniques implemented, key concerns and strategies adopted by various entities to combat the coronavirus pandemic. And we have with us today 3 speakers from key organizations dealing with this critical area. But first, I would like to take a moment to thank Bulevo International's support for this initiative as a session sponsor for today's webinar. Bulevo is one of the world's leading manufacturers of road sweepers and is active in more than 80 countries worldwide. The company has developed and designed several custom product lines that include street sweepers and industrial sweepers, among others. And Bulevo is the official supplier for key city councils, including Rome, Dubai, and Singapore. Now, moving on to the session, let me first introduce our speakers. Dr. Naseem Rafi is the Director of Health and Safety Department, Dubai Municipality. Dr. Naseem has more than 14 years of managerial experience in the field of public and occupational health and safety, emergency and crisis management, and consumer product safety. She holds a PhD in public health and occupational health and MSc in healthcare management. Dr. Naseem also heads the emergency management team at Our second expert is Kamis Al-Siabi, Head of Department, MSW Operations at BIA Oman. The department is responsible for overseeing the performance of all MSW service providers across the country. Prior to joining BIA, he worked as the corporate HSSE manager at Shell Oman Marketing Company. He has a BSc Honours degree in Environmental Management at the University of Bradford, UK. Our third speaker is Rafael Lopez, CEO of Tandeef BIA. With over 20 years of international experience, Rafael has worked with 3 different government entities over the past 13 years, with key achievements including setting up the first mixed C&D recycling plant in the region, building and operating the first fallen stock incinerator plant and medical waste incinerator plant in Abu Dhabi, signing the contract to build and operate the first UCO to biodiesel plant in Abu Dhabi, among others. Welcome, Dr. Naseem, Rafael, and Kamis. Thank you so much for joining us for the webinar today. Before we begin, I'd like to let you all know that we will be taking questions from the audience as well, so you can type out any relevant question or comment in the chat box that appears below. I now invite Dr. Naseem to give her presentation. Over to you, Dr. Naseem.
Thank you very much. Is my voice clear? I can see that some of you are explaining that the sound was not okay. So is it clear now? Okay. Yeah, okay. So some people are saying yes, so that's good. Good. Thank you very much, first of all, for inviting me to this webinar. And I hope that all of us will be getting benefit from everyone's and of course my respected colleagues as speakers and also the others, and also we appreciate your contribution with your questions as well. So what we are doing actually in Dubai municipality, does the presentation is changing? Can you see it? Can you see the slides?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, so I was introduced. Of course, I work for the municipality as Director of Health and Safety. As part of the our Dubai municipality's let's say efforts towards COVID-19. When this issue started, we were a little bit earlier than the others, so we made sure that we have something in our agenda we never had the sterilization services at Dubai municipality at all. Within a week, we were able to do this. Alhamdulillah, I can say, because of the thing that we had the experts who are working on the assessment and registration of some of the consumer products, and among those products are the biocides. So the biocides and the disinfectant products, we have the experts who always we do the registration for them, and we made sure that these products are complied with all the specifications set by Dubai municipality. So from that, we went to start working on approving the companies who are doing the disinfection processes. And we also started our own program for disinfecting of the outdoor areas. So what is our role, a specific one? Of course, we are doing lots of other activities in Dubai municipality, but specifically because whatever we do, we need to relate it to our strategic objective. So we have a main objective on the Emirate level. So on the Dubai level, we have lots of objectives. The objective, strategic objective number 30, which is ensuring the public health and safety. So we want to make sure that maintain the safety of the community and the public health. So we made everything available for the national program, for the sanitization program. And not only that, but also we made sure that we approve these type of companies who are doing such processes, approving the products which are used for such processes, as well as some of the other companies who are doing with the waste management and control as well. So the National Sterilization Program, probably you have heard that in Dubai Emirate, we have started earlier than the national program. So we were ready. We kept all our people ready for this type of program, and we made sure that we started even like around 2 weeks earlier than the national program happened. We covered many areas in Dubai at that time. When the national program on the UAE level started, again, we joined this program from Dubai level. Dubai municipality was the leader in this. And from the other Emirates, of course, the other municipalities or the other entities were working on this. We have covered by now all the areas of Dubai. Actually, Dubai is divided into some, I mean, as per our planning department, we have around 226 areas in Dubai. All the areas been covered, so main streets and all the areas. Not only that, because we started even earlier, so we have done like a repetition. We repeated around over 450 areas again. In the repetition period, what we did, we made sure that now we go and repeat the areas which has high condensity in terms of the population, in terms of the areas which we can say that many people, we have like a risk module. So what we do, we have put like a risks for these areas. So areas which more metro stations can be there, people, you can see them more. Areas where more kids can be available, areas where the screening are happening nowadays. So these are the areas which we call them like the hot zones, and we make sure that we repeat them on daily basis. These are the we also document every single process that we do in this in the whole system. We have since the national program started in the late March, so we also make sure that we document all the let's say the disinfectants that we have used, either it's a number of the disinfectants as a type, or even the like for example the amount that we have used till now. We have also covered many areas. As I said, the hot zones for us, the parks, the walking areas are important. At the time which we have taken these photos, the parks were not opened yet. As you know, since a week or even less, now we have announced that all the walking areas are open now, and the parks will be also opened gradually, inshallah. We made sure that everywhere is clean before people are going to use it. What we are doing, we are making sure that the tools, the equipments that we are using are up to date. We have now bought around 4 drones that we are using it for disinfecting certain areas which it's not easy accessible by other devices or equipments. We have some small vehicles like the one that you can see at the left. Why we are using this one, especially for the pavements, we want to have the smaller devices so that we can reach all the areas in Dubai. We also had new vehicles. We have bought them, which are really fast in doing this process. These are also some photos of the let's say the supporting vehicles that we have used. As you can see at the left, our Director General, he's also always with us in this program, and most of the time we can see him here. We have some volunteers. We are proud to say that our first line defense of our employees are also working in coordination with also the volunteers from different entities. In the waste management program, what we have done, and now we have gone through the whole process of the waste management process with all the areas which are under quarantine with Dubai Health Authority and also Dubai Tourism. The treatment are done for more than 350 tons of the contaminated waste. We call them contaminated because, as you know, medical waste been somehow been transported under supervision of Dubai Health Authority, been treated by Dubai Municipality. That's earlier before COVID-19. When COVID-19 case happened, then we took over this, and now on the whole level of Dubai, now Dubai Municipality is taking care of this. Also, that we are approving the companies who are doing this type of contaminated waste transportation. We, of course, have the whole process. Our people are working 24/7 from arrival of the medical contaminated waste till the do the sterilization, and then they immediately start the disposal of the processes till the end. We work very closely with the national crisis team as well as the local crisis team. So on the Emirate level, we have the crisis team where we work together, all of us, Dubai Municipality, Dubai Health Authority, Dubai Police, ambulance, and many other civil defense and many other entities. We were among the people who had decided to close or contain the Naif area so that we make sure that the sterilizations are happening 24 hours. In that area, we did the sterilization for the whole 24 hours. We made sure that we are available all the time. We had certain, let's say, equipments there, made sure that all the cars and equipments that are entering the area are disinfected before they get into the area, either for distributing the food, either it's government cars, etc. And alhamdulillah, thankfully, as you know, after 26 days of the hard work with them, we could finally be able to, alhamdulillah, we were so much successful in that area, and we hope that in the other areas as well, we will be, inshallah, very soon successful. We also collaborate with our strategic partners. I think I have already explained that we are doing, we have an action plan, and we work together to make sure that all the KPIs that we have for all the entities are really achieved in high efficiency. We also do joint inspection for the labor camps, for lots of other establishments, to make sure that all the precautionary measures that we have taken are fulfilled. We participate with the command and control center as well. So in the part which they do the surveillance system to make sure that who are the contacts and who are the cases, all of these are also done through the whole team, which we are also part of that. We have also issued certain circulars, technical guidelines, both in both languages, Arabic and also English, and all of these guidelines are also on the website. We have done some let's say tips and certain guidelines which are for the household, so that how they do the disinfection of their items also at their houses. We always keep telling this to our customers who we do inspect on them, the labor camps, especially the workers and also the others, that make sure that the precautionary measures, you take care of that, make sure that you comply with it. Either it's about cleaning and disinfection, it's about the social distancing, always making sure that keeping or screening the temperatures of the people, the visitors to the shopping malls or any other malls as well. And maybe you have seen that there are lots of boards of the municipality that have been circulated among these entities. So we have the active monitoring. In fact, each night we have a routine meeting with the fire committee in the crisis team, where we do report to them number of the visits that we do, either if it's for labor accommodation, for construction sites. We have lots of visits we have done so far, like around over 2,000 for the labor accommodation, over 12,000 for the construction sites. We have done lots of visits for the shopping malls, for the beauty salons, and for each of them, if they are not complying with the specification, immediately the closure of this shop is happening. This is because we are really becoming, we want everyone to comply with the efforts that the government is happening. Today, we want all work together to make sure that we achieve our goals, which is, of course, to have 0 cases in UAE, inshallah. We are continuing each day with our inspection on the laundries, on the consumer establishments, on the food establishments or hypermarkets, cafeterias, restaurants, other food establishments are also being inspected. All the consignments that are imported into Dubai are also inspected. This is due to the time, so I apologize that I cannot cover more than this, but please feel free to ask any questions. I don't know if you are going to ask it now. It's up to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Naseem. We have a couple of questions here for you. Can you hear me, Dr. Naseem?
Yes, of course, I can hear you.
Okay. So one of the questions is, how do we classify wastes, for example, like used PPE, rags, mop heads, generated during precautionary disinfection for non-confirmed cases? Example, is disinfecting a coffee shop that are closed for 2 months already, should this be considered as contaminated medical waste, or and should it be sent to Jebel Ali, for instance, for incineration?
Well, in fact, we have requested our waste management department to make sure that they distribute certain containers so that we segregate the normal waste from the contaminated waste. The issue here is that all the masks and PPEs that are used, because we don't know, we cannot figure out that the person is a contact person or he's a positive case unless they have done some tests, etc. So we have requested them now. We've started with the hotels, we've started with some government entities, and we made sure that these type of containers will be everywhere, inshallah, very soon, in the public areas and the other areas. They have started actually. So we want to make sure that we separate them, because we don't know about, no one can say that those PPEs are contaminated or not. So that's why it will be treated as contaminated.
Okay. So one other question is, have you had any resurgence of cases after opening knife area? So is it because, you know, it's a very highly populated place?
I have not, I'm sorry, but I have not heard your voice clearly.
Okay. Have you had any resurgence of cases after opening knife area? Because it's a highly populated area. So have there been any new cases?
Yeah. Well, actually, the issue with Naif is that all the people who were in Naif, I mean, most of them who were contained, been already screened for these, and since then we had 0 cases. So in Naif, at that area, it is 0 cases, alhamdulillah. Still, we work in the higher committee so that we make sure that we remain the same, and we make sure that other areas are also under control.
Right. So Asma would like to know, with Eid approaching, hello?
Yes?
With Eid approaching, how is DM working towards ensuring that social distancing measures are respected and maintained?
We have had, like, till now, we have around 15 teams we have created only for such issue, and they are scattered all over Dubai. And not only that, but also we are working very closely with all the other entities. So for example, if it's the beach, now the public beaches are not opened yet, but the walking areas around the beaches are opened. The private beaches are opened, yes. The parks will be soon. Many other areas like shopping malls, like other entities are open. So it doesn't matter what we do, even if the area is closed, like the beaches, for example, we still have our inspectors there. We make sure that we utilize certain devices like the drones, etc., to make sure that we monitor the people around these areas. Our inspectors are there. We make sure that other entities who are also, like, for example, some other entities like Dubai Police, like Civil Defense, our strategic partners will be also helping Dubai Municipality. So it's like a team. A DED, Economic Department, also we all work together to make sure that we cover all the areas in Dubai. In case of any let's say someone is not complying with the rule, they're supposed to wear, for example, wear the gloves, they are not wearing, they're supposed to wear masks, but they are not wearing, then immediately they will be fined.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much, Doctor. We will be taking questions as we move along. For now, I would like to invite our next speaker, Khamis Al-Siyabi, who will share BIA's experience in Oman and the learnings from the operations during COVID-19.
Yes,
Mr.
hello.
Khamis. Yes.
Yes, hello everybody. First of all, I would like to thank you also for giving me this opportunity to join this webinar. I will be talking mainly on the operational side. So basically, since I am in charge of the operation, overseeing the operation of municipal waste collection in Oman, and also the facilities that are actually covered under this umbrella, that would actually be my main focus. So moving on, maybe it will be good just to give you a brief background about BIA and its role in Oman. As you see in the screen in there, this is our vision to conserve the environment of our beautiful Oman for future generation. The company was actually established in 2009. And the idea was actually by the government. It used to be like the municipality used to collect and do the waste management in the whole country, as if it was the norm in that during that time across the globe, actually. And gradually, of course, the privatization moving into that direction, the government decided to create that entity, which is actually Oman Environmental Services Company. The company, as we speak right now, only covers the collection part. Basically, the collection, the waste management sector, but not the general cleaning and let's say the other part which is relating to open areas cleaning, and that is actually still remains with the municipalities in Oman. So this is basically the two type of waste we deal with under BIA. We have the municipal waste, and of course that's something that we normally deal with, and of course we have also industrial waste, and under which it comes also the healthcare waste that is a big concern currently, and of course we have a big kind of like structure to deal with that and manage it across the whole country. The idea, or like the concept, the strategy of BIA was based on outsourcing concept. So basically, we received the operation from the different municipalities across the country, and we flowed tenders, and we divided the whole country into small segments, and we award those, and we so far awarded 11 contractor across the whole country to cover the operation of MSW operation in Oman. This is how far we have already gone through that journey. We are almost 93% taken over from the municipality. Still a small portion still being provided with the service provided by the municipality. I think we are targeting by end of this quarter to really have the full the country covered by the operation of BIA Oman, in the same manner that I said before, which is using subsurface, or like using basically subcontractor, basically, to really kind of like provide the services across the country instead of using the municipalities. The situation of COVID-19 in Oman actually compared to other parts of the world, and even probably in the region as well, we are so far still in the early stages. Somehow we are actually, we have not, the spread of the disease has actually been very flat and actually under control so far, and you could see this from the numbers presented there on this table. So far, I think these are like as of the 14th of May, about 4,000 plus cases confirmed recorded in Oman. And of course, we've got also relatively high number of cases that had actually recovered, and relatively also a smaller percentage of fatalities so far, you know. However, the picture is actually changing rapidly, and you could see in the last few days, the number has actually been escalating, and actually we are getting a higher and higher number. And I think by the end of probably in the coming 2 weeks, we'll probably see the numbers that are currently being seen in our neighboring countries like UAE and also Saudi Arabia and other GCC countries. But so far, you could see the numbers are relatively small in Oman. The government has actually taken just lots of measures in there, and I think it's almost the same kind of controls that have been actually put across different countries. But I think it has just a little bit unique kind of approach in which we did not have a lockdown. However, it was only specific to certain highly infected area where they have discovered like high number of infection. But then in total, the whole country had actually been open, even though the shops are actually closed. I mean, general shops, but shopping malls as well closed. But most of the shops that are providing essential services like supermarket, like car repair shops, spare parts, etc., they are all open. And of course, it's more focused on the soft part of promoting stay at home and actually stay safe kind of approach and promoting people to stay at home. Government entities are also open, but only partially. And the same goes with the public or like private sector, where they have actually encouraged them to reduce the number of workers as well, who are actually present in their main offices. The response from BIA in terms of the current challenges that we have, of course, the operation has to continue. This is an essential service that has to be maintained. And of course, the bigger worry is always when you are running such an operation, what if you have like a large infection of your workers, you know? And of course, the restriction as well, that you have a lockdown that can really impact the movement of your truck, the movement of your crews, and as well the safety of them going into highly infected areas as well and quarantined areas as well. And of course, business as normal, we continue providing the service in a normal way. However, by applying also additional controls that I'll probably cover briefly in the coming slides in there. Also, given the structure that we have adopted as having service provider, of course, BIA, also we have the monitoring umbrella where our inspectors across the country also still operating, but of course with different kind of like controls to ensure their own safety and the safety of others as well. These are like, of course, some of the challenges, and as I explained previously, we had, of course, the authority who are actually, as Dr. Nasim was actually talking about. We had doing this campaign of disinfection across different public open areas. Even though I think they have probably adopted less let's say comprehensive, let's say, approach to the disinfection. And I think that's probably connected also to the advice that how effective some of these disinfection measures in an open areas, and especially in areas that are actually where you have already lower, you already have like somehow restriction on the movement of people, plus also you have the sun, and you have actually other actually measures that are actually would say, or like evidence that suggests that probably the infection in open areas are not that effective, even though of course having them as a precautionary measures is definitely pays off and actually is probably practice as well. However, as a general, as I said, in Oman, it has been adopted, but I think with less restriction or intensity, and only dedicated to certain areas. And from our side as BIA, we supported the government as well on those efforts by using our bin washing equipments, because we have the responsibility of washing the bins. So basically our equipment, they are really fit for the purpose of disinfection when it comes to spraying and using disinfection and the rest of it. And of course the large fleet that we have across the country as well. In terms of the service providers also, we have requested them to promote social distancing. For example, like we ensure that shifts of staff, when they change over from one shift to another, there's no physical contact between them, totally connected, so that you do not have the chances of any cross, let's say, contamination or probably cross-infection as well. And of course, the vehicles are normally fully disinfected before or like after each shift to ensure that that's also being controlled as well. We have also then provided also quarantined areas in all across our service providers. So if there's any suspected cases, there are quarantine areas specifically within each service provider premises, and as well as, of course, in coordination with the local authorities who can even extend that provision where required. You can also, and of course, one essential part of that is actually providing appropriate personal protective equipment to the crew, to the frontliners actually, and of course that you've got the medical mask, gloves, and full body suits where appropriate. And I think the bigger challenge comes actually from really ensuring that first of all the worker actually comply with them actually, because remember sometimes tends to be long hours of working, let's say 8-hour or 9-hour shift, and just ensuring that the front line worker actually always comply with those. You know, they are inconvenient and they tend to be really also they tend to, over time you tend to get little bit relaxed about these measures. And I think one of the challenges that we have seen from our service provider, how do we make sure that you encourage your frontline worker to really keep their guards on, to keep their PPE on actually while providing the service. Of course, the communication plans in place, we really have very dedicated or intensive the communication measures actually done to really educate the frontliner, and also even to the wider population, even to the public. Actually, we had several campaigns in different forums really to promote social distancing and also staying at home on the same theme as the government. One of the, of course, who've been in the industry, it's actually the accommodation of labor camps as well, and ensuring that we ensure that those are actually, because even at a smaller scale, you know, one infection or one case can really be disastrous, even though, you know, even though you would normally put so many controls in there, but since these are normally having common utilities, they can actually be potentially serious point for of course infection. And of course we have paid big attention to make sure that those areas or these camps are actually provided with controls and segregation are on place, and even actually minimizing as low as possible the number of workers within those camps to less than 50 where appropriate, by shifting people in different locations as well. So, and of course, we have also, let's say, since this disease is highly infectious, and we know that is probably a matter of time that we will be getting a case within our people, then of course we have the backup supply of manpower as well available, just in case we need to provide that, you know. Of course, these are some of the picture that shows in here the effort of disinfection as well. We're supported the local authorities. These are a health center in here. And of course, these are also we have intensive campaign really disinfecting the bins and washing the bins. Normally we use like automatic bin washing equipments, and of course those are actually take care of the bins. However, also we use different bin washing equipment like manual ones as well, especially in suburban areas and also on remote areas. But our main focus was actually on the cities, actually where highly populated, population are actually there. So we have intensified and really done intensive campaign in cleaning and washing the bins and disinfecting them. Of course, there are some other areas of challenges that we have, like the whole Muscat governance. The whole capital had been actually entry and exit to it because it has the highest number of infection, given that probably it's the highest, it has the highest number of population and density as well. So restriction in movement within Muscat has also been challenged to the crew, so making delays in the operation, and of course we had to adapt to that. And but so far, of course, that actually increased the cost in terms of the operation. As long as, of course, other measures that we have taken, or in addition, as we have mentioned, providing PPE, disinfection, and accommodation as well. all of those has really strained or put a strain on the industry in terms of financial costs as well. And of course, that's something that's one of the indirect impact of COVID-19 on the operation of MSW in Oman, and I think it's probably across the globe as well. Also, we have one segment of our operation specifically addressing the medical waste operation. Of course, we collect the waste from the whole country, medical waste or healthcare waste. And of course, that comes with the challenges now, since given that you have also the quantity of waste has increased, and even the type of waste that actually there. So also there we have put specific measures to address those to really cope with the current thing. Other just intangible, but also serious concern relating to the unavailability of spare parts as well, because most of the spare parts are actually imported. So we had also challenges on the supply chain and delays in getting the spare part. Limited access to maintenance workshops, since many of them are actually closed for some time, even though now the government opened up the maintenance workshop. And delays on the supply chain of bins as well, that are mainly imported as well, and the equipment like compactor and trucks and etc. So all of those are side impact of the COVID-19. And of course, these are my last slide. I hope I do not overrun my time. Of course, waste management is one of the most important sanitary barriers to prevent dissemination of illnesses and diseases. And this is really something there where we really need to pay much attention to ensure that our industry will not be a contributing factor for the infection, but the other way around, actually. With that, I will stop here.
Right. Thank you so much, Mr. Khamis. Could you just tell us one thing with regard to your PPEs, the personal protective equipment, now from the households as well as from other segments? Now, how do you all deal with those in particular?
Okay.
What are the practices?
Yes, so first of all, we have in Oman, you have like institutional quarantine places. So basically places that have been assigned by the government for the purpose of quarantine, or even keeping cases that had been actually, they are not really having, they don't need medical attention, like they don't need hospitalization. So those, we provide them with dedicated bins specifically for the healthcare, which are actually where those bins are actually collected by the medical or healthcare collection vehicles and treated accordingly as if it is a medical waste using the different technologies available. The bigger challenge comes, and of course, hospitals and the healthcare provider, all of them also we provide the same service to them. I think it becomes the bigger challenge for people who are actually infected or probably suspected to be infected and they are actually sitting at home. The current WHO guidelines and of course best practices from across different countries that we have seen actually says that the infection rate from that, of infection risk from those, are very limited, and hence they put certain procedures for the waste to be actually enclosed in double bags and actually can actually be put into the bins of municipal bins. Now, this practice, we try to limit it as much as possible by enhancing or encouraging people to take their waste to the nearest health center available, where the waste can actually be treated as health care waste. But practically, given the large number of course, infected cases and potential for those numbers to grow, of course, this becomes impractical to provide specific collection for healthcare waste, as we have seen across the globe.
Right. There are a few questions directed at Dubai municipality, but we'll take them a little later, maybe just after Bia's presentation. Thank you so much, Khamis, for joining us here. Just maybe we can take some questions for you as well later. So I'd like to now invite Rafael to share Bia's best practices in response to COVID-19. Rafael.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. And although it's the last week of Ramadan, I wish to say Ramadan Kareem to everybody. I hope you all have a blessed month and you all are keeping well and safe. I'm really happy to engage in this webinar and share the response and the initiatives taken by BIA to deal with this challenge of COVID-19. We will showcase in the presentation what are the measures that we have implemented to prevent the spread of the coronavirus and protecting our staff, our frontliners, the communities that we serve, and also keeping the continuity of our business. And we will be focusing in three aspects. So that is the health and safety and training and awareness that we are providing not only for our staff, but also for the community, and also the fleet management, how we are able to manage the fleet and the new additions for the new services that we are implementing. Even here, what we are showcasing, it says the best practices in response to COVID-19. This is an unprecedented event. There are not like such best practices. This is something new for all of us. We didn't know, there is not a manual or a handbook that will guide us to how to deal with all this situation and what are the best practices that we have to be following this very unusual situation. So what we have done is try to gather and collect information from all around the world, of course from the WHO, from the health authorities, local and international, from any other waste management companies, and for any information that we can get guidelines how to deal with the coronavirus. So we try to learn from what it has been done in another countries or in another regions. So what we really knew is that to overcome with this challenge, we should be focused at least with three priorities. The first, of course, safety is a paramount. We have to protect our workers. The protection of our waste workers is something crucial. They are in the front line, battling with the spread of the virus on the street, and they are our main asset. And as our main asset, we need to protect them, and we cannot afford to expose them to get infected. So the first thing, of course, is the safety, and implement all the measures that they are in our hands to protect our workers, but not only when they are doing their work, but also when they arrive to the accommodation, and what are all the safety measures that we have implemented in the accommodations, in the transportation, when we are moving them to the sites, and trying to always cover all the safety for that. The second thing is, of course, the business continuity. We are essential service, and in UAE was declared as essential service the waste management. So we know that the waste collection is very important to stop the spread of the virus, and we play a very important role in this crisis, helping, of course, all the communities and the clients that we are servicing, and trying to protect them and our workers. So we need to give the protection also to the community, to give the comfort that the work that we are doing, so they are feeling safe. And that's why we have, as a business, trying to implement, and we'll see how we implemented new business lines or disinfection and sanitization services. And after that, it followed not only for our workers and our staff, but for our clients and communities, to try to provide disinfection and sanitization tunnels in different areas, so the people that they are working there in their offices, workplaces, or communities, they feel more safe and comfort. And the third priority, of course, will be the training and the awareness. The training and our awareness that has to be done for everybody, not only for our collection workers, that our personnel, they should be aware of the risk of the COVID-19, but not only of the risk of the COVID-19, but of course, the handling the waste that potentially could be contaminated with COVID-19, or could be a vector, the waste to spread the viruses. Already waste is a vector of another viruses, hepatitis or any other diseases that are there. That's why our role and our service is so important to the community. But specifically right now with the COVID-19, we should also spread awareness to the workers and the communities, and to tell the community also how they have to help our workers to be safe. What are the things that they have to do in order to dispose the waste, that they will protect also our frontliners and our waste workers. So we will be working in these three pillars, controlling whatever was the health and safety measures for our workshop, the community, and the business. We, I think, all know the timeline of events that happened when the outbreak of COVID happened in January, and it was in China. Maybe it looks so far from that time, but in that moment, when I think at the end of January, the WHO declared a global health emergency. And after that, 1 week after, we saw that from China, he moved to another country, and first reached Italy and later Spain. So especially in VIA, we were looking at it and following how this is happening, because for not personal only interest, as my country of origin is in Spain, and I was working in waste management there for a period of time, but we realized that if it jumped from China to Europe, and in UAE that we are in the middle, and there are a lot of relation between UAE and China, and especially the flights that also there are between Italy and China, there are doing a stopover in Dubai or in Spain. So we were considering that if already reached to Europe, this we have to be ready for what could happen here. And that's why we were following with the waste management companies that we have contact, and I've been working before in Spain, and with municipalities that have been working close in Spain. What were the actions taken? Because already they were in advance, and they were having and suffering in that moment very heavily the consequences of the COVID. So we wanted to be prepared for that. So we created in VIA in early February our COVID-19 task force to try to follow very close how we should respond in case that this will happen in the UAE, how we can keep the business continuity, because we are playing an important role for the community, and of course we need to keep the business running, and how we will be able, as we saw the problem that they were facing, to acquire new equipment for disinfection and sanitization of the communities and the public spaces that we didn't have. It was a business line that we didn't have, but as we are servicing municipalities all across the UAE, from Abu Dhabi to Sharjah, we wanted to be ready to help in case it was needed. And of course, we were evaluating what could be the impact of the COVID-19 on our business, and we prepare forecasts for 3, 6, and 9 months from now, thinking the different scenarios of what could happen in that time. So this was the forward thinking that we were using, learning from other countries and trying to be ready in advance. So initially in February and after that, I'm watching what it was happening. So we wanted to implement step by step the different social distancing between our workers and our staff, to prepare our contingency plans in case the situation gets worse, and of course just starting to do the disinfection from all our vehicles, the buses, and the offices, with the resources that we have in that time. Even we were implemented and increasing the frequency on the municipal areas where we were working, and washing for example, the bins, or the areas that they have a high footfall, or they are densely populated. So we were increasing the frequency of washing the bins and changing from a simple sanitization to a disinfection of the bin, and trying to do the disinfection of once a week for the areas that there are like supermarkets or tunnels near the schools and hospitals. This we have started already in early February, trying to add more value to our services. Then we did also the disinfection of our offices. We start to do disinfection of our offices. We did also for our labor accommodation camp, so trying to protect our laborers and our workforce, and so on. We will protect the community that we are servicing. So if we were doing that as for us, why we were not, or we were thinking why we cannot do that also as a new business line. And even our partners or some of our clients, they demand, and they saw the good job that we were doing in streets or in our office and in our camps, and they demand the services of disinfection and sanitization. So this is where we decided to launch a new business line in no time. In less than, I think, 2 weeks, we were ready to revamp some of our equipment, to acquire the proper PPEs to protect our workers, and with coverall, mask, gloves, and boots, and then to launch the new disinfection and sanitization services that we have started.
Rafael, so, may I interrupt here for a moment? Yes. Because you just mentioned PPEs. There was a question to all of you. The audience would like to know as to whether you'll have separate bins to deal with PPEs, because I think they're not sure as to whether that system exists, like in the areas that y'all are managing.
Yes, in the areas or in the street, still there are not, even if it is in our plan in some of the areas. Some of the clients, they already requested, and we have special bins with stickers that they are only and exclusive for masks and gloves. Some of the clients in Dubai and in Sharjah, they have requested, and we are working along with them. So they are already deployed in these places. We have deployed the same in our accommodation camp and in our area where we are doing the dispatching, because we provide all the PPEs to our laborers. In the beginning, they were mixed. And as it was mentioned by my colleagues previously, of course, we don't know when the people could be infected or not. So instead of being just like a year to protect the people, maybe could be a medical waste. So we have to at least try to take out from the normal waste stream, and then to try to treat it in a different way. So replying to the question, yes, in some of the clients we have deployed. Some of them, they are demanding that. I think that there will be the demand that it will come from now from everybody on public streets, and with the municipality that we are working with, probably will follow in some of the places when they are again open and the lockdown is completely eased. So probably in some of the places we will be aligned with them where to deploy these bins, because it's important to take it out from the waste normal stream.
So what's happening in Dubai municipality, Dr. Naseem, in this regard? Dr. Naseem?
Yes, Salha, you can hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Yes, we are working on having like a circular to every premise, so that we make sure that they have separate bins for these items, for the PPEs. And I have also discussed this with the director of the waste management, and most probably by today, maximum by tomorrow, the circular will be issued for all of us.
Right.
Inshallah.
Okay. Now, Sonia Nasser
we are the ones who are going to do that.
Right. Sonia Nasser has another question. Like in Dubai, who is actually monitoring and ensuring all the waste management workers are working safely?
In fact, we have an entity, the Dubai Municipality Health and Safety Department. We have a whole team who's inspecting the labor camps. So if those workers are, they are the laborers who are working living in the labor camps, then the health and safety is responsible of ensuring that these camps are doing the necessary to make sure that the workers are safe enough, at least at their labor camps. But when we come to the at work, the companies, they are the responsible for the safety of their workers, because the waste management department, they do not do the inspection over them. The waste management department, their work is specialized more on the waste disposal, etc. But the all the companies, they supposed to have the standards for their for the safety of their workers. We also have a team which is the accident and investigation team. This team is also making sure that they approach through the safety section certain companies that they have a large number of workers, to make sure that all their procedures are safe enough for that. But a direct inspection on them, like the one we do for the other premises, it's not there.
Okay, Adrian would, just one more question. Now, Adrian would, he says he's concerned about the excessive use of disinfectant, and some of the companies are using them. So if it's not used properly, it could possibly render ineffective. So is there any way to have this regulated a little more?
In fact, it is regulated. As I said, we have issued circulars. One of the circulars is putting all the business-to-business disinfectants, so that the companies should only use if someone is disinfecting through their internal cleaning company. They are disinfecting their premise or their entity. So they need to make sure that they are using the correct product, which are under the approved list of Dubai municipality for the business-to-business. These companies must have gone through the trainings. And also we have another list for the approved companies. So the companies we have now, we have done like 2 different lists. One list is for the deep cleaning disinfection for the areas where there are COVID-19 cases. The other list is only for the normal routine disinfection. So these companies are all gone through the approval process by the municipality, and that's why the lists are on the website. So in case of the products to be used, which product to be used, etc., the lists are there. In case of the companies, they need to make sure that are approved. They need to approach the municipality to get the approval in case they are doing any disinfection processes.
Right. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you. Rafael, if you could continue.
Yes. Now, in addition, what the doctor has said, and normally maybe the people also, they get a little bit confused when they heard the word disinfectant, and maybe they are thinking about a chemical thing that is nocive for the health. Normally, all the ones that they are approved by Dubai municipality or any other municipalities, and the one that we are using, indoor, outdoor, fogging or spraying, there are made from, there are natural disinfectants. There are made from natural elements. It's not a chemical element. It's a biocide. So there is harmless for the human or the flora or fauna. So the problem that I believe that sometimes with the word disinfection, disinfectant, they think about the one that we use at home with some chemicals, but normally the one that you use in open spaces, especially spraying, has to be made by natural elements that they are completely harmless for the people. Otherwise, of course, we will not be using that. Then the other part is when you are doing the disinfection of pavement or on the floor, not spraying into the air, where you are using dilutions of different, also natural disinfectant to clean and to wash away on the street, but always keeping in mind that has to be harmless for the flora and the fauna, whatever it is on. Just making that clarification. Following what we were explaining, how we introduce the new businesses, is that we add these disinfection and sanitization services, and we started in our office and in our camps to protect our workers. Same happening in February. If we sit down on the bottom, we just reuse a parking shade that was not being used for our electric vehicles, and we reconvert it into a sanitization pot. This was in the beginning because we were thinking from our dispatch area all our workers, they were all together. So we created, or we saw that it was a good opportunity to reuse this parking shed with 2 entrances in and out, or 2 at the same time, for the dispatching area and trying to be used for our people. Once we did it and it was successful, that we did it with our team and partners, then we saw also a business opportunity to offer that the comfort to our clients, to create the sanitization tunnels that they could be offered for all their facilities, parks, or wherever they want it to be used. As I said before, we started that to protect our labors and to clean and disinfect and our offices and our camp. But then there was a demand for our close partners, and we jumped into a business. We jumped into prepare and do the sanitization and disinfection services for all the government offices in Sharjah. We have done probably more than 200 buildings till date. We have repeated for some of them is the second and third disinfection that we are doing, some of them on weekly basis. We have completed Sharjah Airport, the whole Sharjah Airport, or Sharjah National Oil Company. So we created in no time a business that initially was only to protect our people, but at the end was a new business line that we are now expanding. For that, we needed also to upgrade our fleet. With the fleet that we have, it's not, we will never be able to go and to do a mass disinfection. So in the beginning, until we acquire the new equipment that we wanted for the streets, and we thought, as I explained before, in February, we saw that we will be needing some mass disinfection equipment and tools. So we were reusing and customizing some of the vehicles that we have, like this one, the rapid response vehicle, trying to use the high pressure washer unit that we have, and putting some gear that it will be used until we'll get our equipment. One of the things that always we are giving the comfort to the clients and the customers that we are offering the services, we have a device that it will give a rapid test and analysis, and we do the before and after for what is the cleaning that or a cleaning verification test that we are doing. We check before what are the virus, the germs, and bacteria, fungus that there are in the surfaces that we are going to clean, and after the deep cleaning or disinfection, we do another one and we verify and we give the client the report and the analysis that the job that was done. As I was saying, we did customization in most of our vehicles in no time, trying to be able to cover very big space and street with the municipalities that we were servicing. So we customized water tankers with some guns, and we acquired and spray cannons from Europe. What I'm really proud of all our team from VIA, that in less than 8 to 10 days, we were able to place an order from Europe to bring the cannons and to try to customize our existing vehicles and to be ready in mid of March, already the vehicles to be used for the disinfection. Even before the lockdown started on the 25th, we already have 2 of these vehicles ready. Exactly this one, it was an example of how our forward thinking, how to use a roller container for to be used in a hook lift. So when the service or the cannon is not being used, we can still use the chassis for the normal services that we are providing. And this is a very effective cannon that they can throw the water 60 or 70 meters. So
there's an interesting, sorry, Rafael, there's an interesting question here, actually, with regard to your disinfection pods. Asma would like to know if these pods would be more available to the public moving forward, and can they look forward to them being installed in residential and commercial buildings?
This is what we are thinking. In residential, we didn't approach yet, unless maybe the community, they will approach to us. what we are planning is also to offer to the different municipalities in the public spaces like parks, maybe for festivals when they are again open, or for any maybe theme park when they will be open. Right now, what we are offering is for different places that they have requested, like Sharjah Airport or Sharjah TV, mainly for our own customers, that they know that we have these services. For the public, probably with the municipalities at the end, we reach an agreement. I think that they should be as part of the new life or the new norm of what we are going through in all the hotels or public places. Before going to the gate, we should, or maybe go through one sanitization tunnel. But as of now, we don't have the plan to go for the public spaces. Yeah.
So Sonia Nasser is asking, like, what parameters are checked with the BR rapid disinfection check?
With the device, I can reply maybe later on with the technical team, because there is a manual of how it is checked. There is the concentration per inch of viruses, germs, and I'm not sure what else. It is measured there, and after doing the disinfection, you will do it again, even if it is in your mobile phone, your table, and it will show the parameters. I cannot tell, but maybe later on I can reply to that question exactly what are the parameters and how it is measured. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's another question also related to that. Maybe you can answer them after the session is over, once you go back.
Okay.
Just a minute. Dr. Naseem has to actually leave for a higher committee meeting right now. So thank you, Dr. Naseem. Thanks so much for joining us. If anyone has any questions, we will definitely put it across to Dr. Naseem and she can answer it later on.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you for having me with you. I really appreciate everyone's attendance. And if they have any questions, I will share my email. Salha, you can send to them. And inshallah, we will make sure that we all answer those questions, inshallah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes.
Rafael, yes, sorry. Rafael, can you hear me?
Yeah, continue. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I think there is some issue with the presentation. Let me check.
Rafael, one moment.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So continuing with the addition of the new fleet that we implemented, we have now more than 10 cannons, and all we were able to customize and revamp the 16 vehicles that we have in our fleet. So in less, as I said, of 8 to 10 days, we were able to have 10 cannons to be deployed that we are using now on a daily basis. This is another type, also very powerful, that it was mounted on a pickup that we have. This is another one that we put on a trailer. We have 2 units of this one, and then we have another 6 small ones. So we were ready as I said, in no time to prepare and to add a new fleet for the disinfection and sanitation services. When we come to our workforce and what are the measures that we have implemented, the BIA leadership team, and of course along with the group health and safety team, we have checked what are all the measures that it has to be implemented gradually since the day one that we have started from, as I said, February, even before the lockdown. So the first initial measure that we did, of course, we stopped all the business and personal travel, and we encourage through different measures and different programs the personal hygiene and how they should do it, and what were the best guidelines and how it has to be done. Of course, we provide the hand sanitizers in all the office and all the vehicles and to each of the workers that we have done. We do routine disinfection of not only of the office but the camp, and of course daily check and disinfection of all our vehicles, not only the buses but also the trucks after each shift. When we end one shift, every driver, they have their own task to clean and disinfect and leave the cabin completely clean. And then at the end of all the shifts or the day, we do the disinfection of the whole truck or vehicle. Of course, we have implemented the health and temperature checks, not only for the staff that it was working to the office in February and March, but all in the camp and in the dispatching area before going into the bus. And we have prepared all the health and safety measures that we are going to explain in the next slide.
Rafael, a question here for you. What is the efficacy of these disinfectant spray cannons? Asma would like to know. To her knowledge, she says they disperse disinfectant into the air, but how effective is this if it is being sprayed into open air, and what effects might it have on the environment?
As I said before, in the environment, there is no effect, because the one that we are using in the air sprayer is a biocide that is not harmful for the persons, the flora, and the fauna. The effect that it will have in to stop the spread of the coronavirus is something that still is under study, because it's true that when we are spreading in the air, we don't know exactly where exactly the virus could be. So it's a good question in terms that how effective it is. We don't have a tool to do it. We don't have how to measure that when we are doing all that job, all the area that we are covering is completely disinfected, and probably not all of them, because we cannot cover the whole areas at the same time. But yes, it's something that is being widely used, not only in Europe, in Asia, and here. So probably some effect it will have. I cannot measure what is the exactly effect reducing the spread of the COVID. Yeah. What we were telling now about the workforce and how we were doing the information about what is the health and safety that has to be implemented with it, with all the tools that we have, from internal communications, from websites that we have, from meetings that we have in that time, not virtual, because physically we are talking about February. Now we are conducting all of that in a virtual way. But in that stage, and let's remember we are talking in February, March, we have created what is like an emergency color code. We were preparing ourselves for the worst to come. So we create like the green, yellow, and red, and trying to understand in which of the situation that we will be facing, what are the action that we have to take. So in the moment that we created that, we were in the phase 1, it's in February, trying to prepare all the plans for work from home for the people that they can do that, not the operational people, and try to create the contingency plan for what will happen if we are going into a lockdown scenario. We were hearing and we were following from Italy and Spain that they were going regions into the lockdown. So we didn't know even at that time if this will happen here, how the lockdown or the curfew will be, and even if the waste management will be considered an essential service or not, that this will be the phase 3, in case that is a completely lockdown where waste management was not an essential service. So what will be our contingency plan, trying to remove all the people from the streets, like litter pickers and non-essential services, let's say, that as waste management, we have prepared all that contingency plan in late February, early March. Fortunately, we were not reaching the phase 3, that we have to reorganize all our staff. What we have done when we reached the phase 2 and there was the curfew, some of the services that we normally provide, we stop it. For example, in Sarja, we were doing the You Call We Hold, that is the collection of bulky waste house by house. It is on hold still till now. We were stopping some of the recycling and segregation at source. We stop it. The collection of some of the green waste and bulky waste near the residential area, we stop it in a certain moment, because of course we don't want our workers to be in close contact with the residents for the cross contamination from our workers to them, or also from the people that we don't know to our workers. So this was a plan that we have prepared and in detail, not only for the office but also for all our business.
Right.
So yes.
May I interrupt for a moment? There are two questions here for both you and Kamis. Like, have you had any COVID cases in your companies, and how was this handled? And is there any data on the infection among the waste sector workers? Both of you, the question is addressed to both of you.
As of now, and as you know, the Ministry of Health, we don't have any positive case message given by the Ministry of Health. We have been testing and putting on the quarantine a lot of our staff that they have been tested negative, but as of now, as per our knowledge from the Ministry of Health, we haven't received any positive case information from that. But in terms of precaution, when we have some people that they are having the symptoms, or when we are going to the disinfection of places that we know that there was a COVID case, we, if the people they are not feeling well, and this is what we will see later on, we'll put under isolation, under quarantine, all of them. We don't know what is in the UAE, at least I don't know what are the waste management workers' rate of infection. I have not that. Not that.
Yeah, I think for Oman so far, also from all of the service provider that we have all across, we have not recorded any positive case, confirmed positive case. The same thing, we have suspected cases in the past, and which we have quarantined, and eventually after doing the do test, they were actually revealed to be negative. So far so good. I think the picture is positive, but I think looking at the escalation that is happening, I think it is likely that we might actually get such cases, even though we have put in so much effort to prevent that from happening.
Right. And one question related to this is, Gerardo would like to know, has anybody done a qualitative correlation between spraying and prevention of the virus during quarantine?
As far as I know,
sorry, quantitative, not qualitative, quantitative. Has anybody done a quantitative correlation between spraying and prevention of the virus during your operations?
As far as I know, I don't have that data yet.
No, the same thing. I think it has not been done. I think probably this is like it's an ongoing thing as we go. The whole thing needs lots of research and development on that aspect.
Yes, Rafael.
Yeah. So what we were saying in the beginning, we were. I think
we have another few minutes left. So yeah, thank you.
To because still I have some slides. So yeah, we prepare in the beginning, early March, and identify the groups of employees that they could be at risk. So we send them at home, all the pregnant employees or employees with some health conditions, and the mothers that they have children with grade 9 and below, we send them automatically at home. We prepare in the first week of March our stress test of sending all the team working from home and rotating as part of the plan that I mentioned before, the yellow, green, and the green, yellow, and red code. So in case that the worst case scenario, we will be ready. So we were sending everybody week by week working from home, and of course we were working perfectly because our company, the digital transformation of our company happened more than 1 year and a half ago. So we were working perfectly with that. In terms of the camps and the workforce, we have implemented a nurse to each of the camps that they are measuring the temperature and taking care about our people. And of course, we are doing the temperature check not only in that time in the office, but also in the accommodation. We have deployed all the sanitizers, as I mentioned, in the office, in the bus, and everywhere that there was possible to be done. And we have installed thermal scanning cameras in our head office to check, of course, to improve the temperature check that we were doing.
Right.
In terms of how we have distributed in the contingency plans, and also before the lockdown, we try to do the physical distancing. We have to, of course, monitoring the worker health condition, but trying to provide and to try to keep them separate. What is affecting that, and still we are doing, is that we reduce the capacity of our bus in probably 60%. So with that, the consequences in the operation is we need to increase the shifts that we were working with. So for working maybe in some of the services in one shift, that when we deploy all the labors in one bus, now we shifted to 5 times of 5 shifts or different shifts. We did.
Sorry. How do you, there's a question here for you, like how do how the biohazard infectious waste here is treated and disposed at the landfill?
This I cannot reply. This is my colleagues from treatment, they can reply. I'm not handling the biohazardous waste. Yeah. Sorry for that. We were, of course, like we said, doing the disinfection of all our buses and our accommodation, and we have prepared in advance, as part of our plan, isolation areas or rooms and quarantine. In that time, we have people that they were on leave, even the lockdown and the flights still they were going, and they were arriving from their home country. So everybody that was coming from abroad, automatically we put them on a quarantine for 2 weeks at that time. And we have deployed rooms where they have all the amenities. They have a TV, they have an iPad, they have a Wi-Fi, so they will feel better during this quarantine period. So we don't have, I think, too much time, and try to go a little bit quick with this measure that we have implemented. For example, we are giving to everybody mask and gloves and a coverall. The coverall that we are giving, that is a disposable coverall, is to all the laborers that they are involved in handling waste. Not to the litter pickers, that they are not involved with the waste, but to absolutely all the waste workers involved with the waste. Daily we are deploying 3 masks to the laborers, because it's not only in the working time. The effectiveness of a mask is more or less 8 hours. So sometimes they work 10 hours or 11 hours. So we are providing 2 masks from the operation side and another one when they arrive to the accommodation. So to each labor, every day, we are deploying 3 masks and a pair of gloves and a coverall. We have reduced the number of people staying in one room, trying to, wherever is possible for us, to do the physical distances, even in the camp. We have provided, as I mentioned before, the Wi-Fi. We have provided a nurse and a health and safety that every morning they do the awareness through them. We are providing to all of them vitamin C, because of course in some of these guidelines that we have read, we heard that the vitamin C, they will help for the immune system. So we are providing to the workers all the vitamin C daily. And of course we are giving, even during these times, meals and health or hygiene products like shampoo, soap, and detergent, because we didn't know where in the lockdown scenario if these items they will be available, and if there will be food that they can buy by themselves, or if they can have some of the washing and hygiene items. So we also acquired and we gave one of these items per month for each of them. in terms of how then we spread awareness to the laborers, because we saw before through internal communications, through the website, through different ways to do it, but to the laborers that they don't have that access. So what we have created is different WhatsApp groups with our health and safety team, where all the laborers, or most of the laborers, that are there, and we put all the awareness videos and tips in different languages, and this made by their own laborers, as I will show later on. These are the normal activities that we are doing on daily basis for the commercial team, room to room, explaining what different things about how the COVID is spread, how they have to wash their hands, because for some of the people, for us, we already know, but another people maybe they don't really know. So this is aligned what I have said. When the lockdown came, they sent that everybody they have to work from home. We were ready in advance. The operational staff, they were keeping the business running. Our BTI team, they have the platform and the infrastructure ready. So all of us, we were working without problem, and we are working from home without any problem, and keeping virtual meetings, not only between the top management, but also we are having virtual meetings with the laborers. And there are for the employees, we are providing all this training and awareness, as I mentioned before, through different ways. One of them, these are videos that there are in the WhatsApp group in different languages and done by their own people. So it's not that we explain to them. So our own team, they explain to their own roommates what they have to do with the different hygiene or COVID symptoms, or how they have to dispose or use the gloves and the mask. Same, how or what is the effect of the vitamin C, how they should be avoiding the cold beverage and better the hot beverage. All of that is included in this WhatsApp group, and we are keeping on daily basis, not only from the nurse, the health and safety, their own workers. We are every day keeping the awareness and trying to tell them how they have to be protected, because they are the most important asset that we have. As part of the national disinfection program and the campaign that we have been doing since the 25th of March as part of the UA program, we have created a route. Maybe this is aligned to the question that we received before, how effective is the spraying and all the disinfection that we are doing on the street. Maybe we can do it later on when we have time to analyze all the data that has been collected. We have created routes, as this that we have here, based on the number of vehicles, based on the number of roads that we have to be disinfected, and on daily we are doing the disinfection of the whole Sharjah. We are covering with all our vehicles the whole areas of Sharjah.
Rafael?
Yes.
I think we're actually running out of time. We've kind of overstepped. I'm sorry. I understand you have some more information to share, and there are quite a few questions here, and we'll surely answer all your questions over email. Those questions we've not answered here, just due to time restrictions. And first of all, I would like to thank all the speakers. It's been a very informative session with all the great work you all are doing right now. And before we close, for the audience, I'd like to let you know, for those who might be interested from the cleaning sector, Clean Middle East magazine, in association with Global Biorisk Advisory Council, is launching a certification course for cleaning and disinfection professionals in the Middle East. So stay tuned for more information on this program. A special thanks to all our experts. Rafael, thank you so much for being with us here. And Kamis, thank you so much for taking time out to share your experience in Oman as well.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for it.
A big thank you to Dulevo International for their support, and thank you all for those who have joined us here today. Do stay tuned, and as we have many more interesting themes coming up as part of the virtual forum. Stay safe, everyone, and thank you.